Okay, I'm going to upgrade this bike from SRAM to Shimano drivetrain with electronic shift and auto shift. This is a Bosch motor. That was a recent upgrade to their software, allowing auto shift to shift the Shimano Di2 gear. Hopefully this is going to work. Not a lot of information on the web about how to do this, so this is a bit of a gamble. I bought the components and I'm going to do it. Now you might be thinking, why? Why spend so much money on an older bike? Well, it's a 2022 Mondraker Crafty R. It comes with the Bosch CX Gen 4 motor, BDU 3741 is the model number on that thing. And it's been working fine up until I don't really ride this bike anymore. My wife does. She had a hard time shifting it. And that's because the cable runs through the frame and makes a hard S-turn at the bottom of the frame here. And then it gets routed out behind the chain ring, and it gets very close to these teeth here, and has to go in and then it goes in the lower control arm, or the lower part of the triangle here, and makes a sharp turn over to the derailleur. And that whole routing makes a lot of resistance. So when you're upshifting, that is when you want the bike to go to a smaller cog in the cassette, it needs that cable needs to flow easily, or else it just doesn't shift well or shift easily. And it's kind of hard for her to apply all the pressure needed to overcome that resistance. So electronic shifting sounded good. A little too expensive for this older bike, but Shimano came out with the Cues Di2 electronic shifter. I'll show you what I bought. And so overall, it's a little less expensive. I'd like to try out the auto shift for her. I think for me, not so good. I don't think I'd like it, but I'll give it a try. And it also has rolling shift, which I probably would like. And that is when you're coasting downhill and you want to get to, it's going to automatically shift to a smaller cog for you, if getting whatever cog you need. And in fact, I think it works in a semi-manual mode. So while coasting, you can shift the gears to another gear, and it's gonna power up the motor, turn the chain ring, and shift the gears for you, even though you're coasting and not pedaling. At least I hope so. So that's what I intend on doing here. Not a lot of information on the web, and the web that I found made it sound like it's not really, the bike needs to be designed for electronic shifting to begin with. This bike obviously was not. What I plan on doing is routing let me tell you about what the components needed for that. This wire is needed. And this is really the heart of the system. This little wire here costs $100 for this little wire. And it has a bump in the line here. I don't know what's in there, but I assume, well, anyways, this wire goes from the motor to the shifter. And of this, wireless shifter, you need this wire. So one thing though, it provides power. In fact, that's the only thing I could read that it actually provided was power to the derailleur. But it had to do more than that. It has to have data, even though they say it's only a power cable. There's only looks like only two pins on this thing as you plug it into the motor and run it back there. Yeah, it is just two pins. But what it has is PLC, I think. That is power line communications. So there's going to be some sort of voltage going across here, and there's going to be a digital communications over the top of that power. Gets decoded on the other side. So whether it's a CAN bus protocol or Shimano's own protocol, I don't know. But the nice thing about this cable is now you don't need a battery on the derailleur because it's getting power through here. In fact, Shimano sells two types of derailleurs. This is the one I bought. I bought the Cues model, Di2 RD U8050 SGS. So I think the 8060, or I forget the part number, it's almost the exact same derailleur, but it has a battery pouch in it, and that's just for electronic shifting. That other model that has the battery is not going to work for this auto shift. This auto shift has to have that data communications over here. This one has the long cage. I really would like to have had the shorter cage, but I went with 11 speed. So that is the derailleur. And I went with this cassette, all link glide. It is 11 speed, 11 tooth to 50 tooth cassette. The SRAM that's on there now is 11 tooth to 50 tooth, so it is the same. The hub on this that came with these wheels is a HG hub, and this is compatible. So the HG hub SRAM has compatible cassettes. So I'm going to go all link glide chain, etc., etc. This will go on to the HG hub, but the reason I got this one is because the splines here are all together with this aluminum mounting mechanism here that holds all those chain rings together on the cassette, where the upper four gears are individual gears. The problem with the individual gears, like this one, the SRAM has all individual gears in here. The problem with this one is, as you're applying pressure to the chain, it only has this little bit of material to crank on the spline, the HG splines to, and anyways, it ends up digging in, and it's going to wear out. But anyway, so that's why I went with that. The shifter, I don't know, I chose an XT shifter. Now apparently Shimano gear is going to be, this link glide gear is all compatible. I went with the XT, even though it was more expensive. This was $190, overpriced. I should have went with the Cues one because it's smaller than this big thing. It still has the 3 buttons. This third button here is for going into auto shift and some other kinds of manual shift. But this one had buttons that you can adjust up and down, back and forth. The Cues did not. But I don't know, after I got this, I realized you can only adjust these things a little bit. And so I would get the Cues one, especially on a build like this that's just going to be for guests and my wife to ride. So those are the components. The process here is going to be remove the cranks, remove the chain ring, then take off the plastics on the outside of the motor, figure out where this is supposed to plug into, and then plug that in. I'm gonna set up the derailleur and the shifter externally I just want to make sure everything works first before shifting doing too much work. So it's really just get the thing apart, make sure this all works, and that is where I'm going to pick up on this video. So for now, well, this is a failure. I clicked my fingers. I expect the magic of video to shift over to this spot and everything would just be working, but all I did is take off the plastic, plug in the wire. I'll probably show a close-up of where you plug it in too. It's pretty straightforward. There are 4 pins when I look in here. There's several power outputs on this Bosch motor. The directions I read should plug into the yellow one, which I have it plugged into. I took a picture of both the yellow and the red one. The red one is 2 pins. This yellow one is 4 pins. But really, the other end of this really only shows 2 metallic connections here. So, but the problem is I plug it all in and I get no power on this guy. I have the power on the bike, and this thing does not power up. That's where I'm at. Well, it's a rainy day here in San Diego, but a good day in the garage because I finally got this working with a little help from my friends at Fly Rides. which is a local bike shop here in Southern California that specializes in e-bikes. This is where I bought this e-bike from in 2022. I went out to them. They hooked it up to the Bosch diagnostics software through the USB port on the controller, and we're able to turn this port on, this power port. Because what happened, I was really bummed out after connecting it all. I thought it would just be all plug and play, and I got the digital voltmeter out and measured really no voltage coming out of those pins there, which made me think, hey, it's probably a software problem. So I looked online. Sure enough, Bosch, depending on the vendor, Mondraker, has that port turned off. So you can get it turned on through this diagnostic tool, which Noah at Fly Rides helped me out with. Did that for me, and boy, I can't say enough about the support there, because he helped me get everything up and running. That is through the Shimano eTube app, the Flow app, and just getting all the latest firmware done, testing it out. He did all that in support of a bike that I bought there. So shout out to Fly Rides. So what had to happen, once he had the diagnostic tool turn on this port, then the LED started shining on this, on the derailleur. And I could put it in pairing mode. But before I even did that, I used the Flow app for the Bosch motor, and then I could see this RDU 8050 showed up as a new component. Added that new component, so obviously it was recognizing this component through the power. Must be some digital communications here, or maybe through Bluetooth, I don't know. But I think it's digital communications over this wire here. It found this and added it to the Flow app. I don't know what that actually does, but then you have to go to the YouTube app, discover these components, the shifter and the derailleur, go through the exercise of updating the software. And don't totally follow the directions. They say hold this button in until the blue light flashes. Well, that doesn't work. You just press the button once until the blue light flashes, and then your eTube project software will recognize it and start allowing you to set it up. Once the shifter is communicating with the derailleur, that happens over Shimano proprietary Wi-Fi link, wireless link. I don't know what the protocol is, or even, I think it does work in the 2.4 gig band. Then this will control that, will control the derailleur. But the next step of the game is making sure that the display for the Bosch is updated, that it can actually change the modes, see what gear you're in, show the gear on the display, put it in the automatic shifting mode and the manual plus mode. Now, I haven't tested it out for auto shift, but it does manually shift, so that's 75% of the battle, in my opinion. In fact, I don't know if I personally probably won't be using the auto shift. I'll be happy to try it out. But I do want it working for guests that ride the bike. And then you also have to cycle power a couple times. So you had the diagnostic tool hooked up to this USB port here, and then after you unplug that and connect this component, you really have to shut everything down, including close out the Flow app. And closing out the Flow app, I mean, completely swipe up, close it out completely. Then when it reestablishes that link, it uploads all the latest data from the Bosch engine, and then you start seeing something on the display. It took a couple tries to get it from just showing manual mode to showing manual mode and the auto shift and rolling shift, or M+, I guess they call it, mode. I don't know why that happened, but you do have to go into the eTube app and I think enable the auto shift, and maybe that's what did it. But it took 3 or 4 times of goofing around with it before it's up and running. So happy with that so far. Next step is to remove this old mechanical shifter cable. move this engine out of the, probably take 3 of the 4 bolts out, loosen the last bolt so the engine swings out a little bit, so I can route this ridiculously expensive cable around the inside of that and through this, through the rear triangle lower arm. I'm going to have to fish it through. There's nothing going in this hole now. Figure out some way to somewhat protect it because it looks like a pretty flimsy cable. So do my best on that. Then install the derailleur, install the new cassette, and test it out. Oh, I got a shock I have to put on here too, but that's at Fox. It'll come back in a couple days. So I think on this video I'll just have it working on the stand here. Then I'll do some evaluations, post another video on how that works, my thoughts on the whole thing. So anyways, moving forward. Okay, in routing this cable, it's actually tighter than I thought it would be. I thought 1 meter, 1,000 millimeters, you can order 1,000 or 1,600 millimeters would be plenty to go, from here to here. But really, if I were to do it over again, I'd get the 1.6 meter cable, do a couple loops in here, because I'm not able to route it exactly where I'd like to route it. With enough slop in here to tie it with the rest of the cables. It's better, it would have been better to have a little bit more. So anyways, thought I'd make that note. Okay, chain line is at 6th gear. I thought it was supposed to be at 5th gear, but I cannot move that front chain ring very much. So I guess as long as it shifts, I'm good with that. All together now, we got a new cassette, new link glide chain, Cues Di2 deraillear, same old chain ring, but it's all aligned. It really didn't take much alignment at all, but you just press a button here to get it in alignment mode, and then use the shifter to adjust the alignment a little bit, but shifts through all the gears nice and smoothly. This guy up here, the XT shifter. I again wish I would have got the smaller one. It sticks out a little far. I should have got the Cues one, but anyways, that'll work. So yeah, looking forward to trying it as soon as I get the shock back from Fox.